All right, guys. Today I'm joined by Drew McClellan. He's the CEO and founder of Agency Management Institute. He's also the founder of McClellan Marketing Group. He has over 30 years of agency leadership and active ownership experience, on top of working with hundreds of agency owners on a day-to-day basis. Drew, welcome to the show today.
Thanks for having me.
Of course, it's my pleasure. Thanks for coming on. Can you tell us a little bit about what you're working on and how you landed here?
Yeah, it's a sort of an interesting journey. I think like most agency owners, I was sort of an accidental business owner. I was working at an agency. I wasn't happy there. I thought, how hard can it be to run an agency? And so started an agency with a business partner and then learned very quickly how hard it is to run an agency, to understand all of the back of the house things that make an agency profitable and allow you to keep doing what you love doing. So I think most agency owners are great at the client facing stuff and they haven't really given a lot of thought or attention to all of the back of the house things, all the KPIs and metrics that allow you to be successful and profitable and, pay your mortgage and help your people pay their mortgage. And so that led to a lot of painful lessons and finding other agency owners that had figured some of it out, which led to Agency Management Institute, this idea that we can learn faster and better when we learn together. And that's what AMI is all about, is teaching agency owners who are accidental business owners. They're brilliant at what they do for clients, but they're trying to figure out how to run the business of their business. And that's what we do all day, every day, is focus on that side of the house.
Got it. Okay. So is Agency Management Institute, is it a more of like a mentorship coaching program? Is it a mastermind? Is it so you guys do events? What do the services look like inside of
Yeah.
the company?
It's all of that. So, if you think of it kind of like a pyramid, at the base of the pyramid, we hold an annual conference for small to mid-sized agencies that is really focused on really small to mid-sized agencies, agencies under a couple hundred people, which there's not a lot of events aimed at truly independently owned small to mid-sized agencies. We teach a lot of public workshops around different aspects of running your business in a scalable, profitable way. We do a lot of coaching and consultation work around succession planning, like, what am I gonna do with this thing someday? Am I gonna sell it? Am I gonna shut it down? We also help negotiate on both the buying and the selling side, mergers and acquisitions. We do a lot of individual coaching, and then we have peer groups, agency owners coming together in a mastermind, some virtually, some physically. They come together and hang out for a couple days, a couple times a year. And so we kind of do a little bit of all of it.
Got it. That makes sense, and I can absolutely see the need for that. How long ago did you start AMI?
AMI's been around in some fashion or form since the 90s. I actually bought a consultancy that was much smaller and then converted it into AMI in 2010. So it's been almost 20 years. So, yeah.
Wow. Wow, that's impressive. In a space that's changing so fast with technology that's obviously,
Faster and faster
evolving.
every day, right? Yeah.
Yeah. That's impressive that you've been able to maintain for that long. What does Agency Management Institute look at the next level? Like, where are you guys headed towards?
I think in some ways it's about deliverability, which I think is what a lot of agencies are trying to figure out too. I know what I do. I know, and this is an agency owner saying, I know what we deliver is valuable, but how we're going to deliver it is different. So how are we, one of I was just talking to somebody earlier today and we were talking about how agencies headcounts are getting smaller, right? So how do we do more with fewer people now that we have technology, we have global talent we can tap into and all of that. And at AMI, we're doing a lot of the same things. Our challenge and our opportunity is we're trying to figure out with agency owners where the puck is headed and then make sure that we have coaching and consulting that helps them get there as efficiently and effectively as possible. So we're focusing a lot right now on how are agencies implementing AI into their business? How are they talking to clients about it? How are they legally protecting themselves while they do it? And what are the new revenue opportunities that are tied to it? So we do proprietary research every year. And we just came out of the field in May, and it was all about how clients are feeling about AI. And one of the things that we're discovering is Clients want us, agencies, to be their Sherpa, to be their guide when it comes to AI, not just about marketer, but about AI in general. Hang on a second. We foster puppies, and so I have to keep them nearby because they're destructible. But one of them is having at it. So let me start that over. So we just came out of the field in May with our annual proprietary research. We call it the Agency Edge. And this year we were focusing on how clients are feeling about AI and how they're feeling about their agencies and AI. And what we discovered was we're kinda letting them down. They want more from us than we're bringing to them. What they want is they don't want to have to understand AI. They don't want to have to understand where AI can plug into their business. They want us to be the guide or that leads them to that and then teaches them, helps them figure out their tech stack, helps them load it in, helps them train their team. So the good news about this is, A, that's not just marketing, that's AI throughout their organization. So B, that's a lot of new revenue opportunities for us. So as we're learning AI for our own selves, for our own agencies, and certainly in the marketing space, what clients are saying is, you're our trusted business thinking partner. And this is, we think of technology as part of that conversation, and we need you to really take the lead on this. And so part of what AMI is uncovering those sorts of opportunities and then helping agencies figure out how to maximize those opportunities. So that's where we're spending a lot of our time right now.
Got it. That makes sense, and that insight is invaluable because I don't think a lot of agency owners that aren't a part of AMI or aren't listening from individuals like yourself, they're not getting that intel.
No, well, honestly, we were surprised by it too. I mean, we here's what we expected. Clients are dabbling with AI, but I will tell you, when we asked them, "Are you using AI?" They said, "Yes." And we said, "Okay, well, which AI tools are you using?" Here's what they said. The top 3 were ChatGPT, no surprise, Grammarly, and Canva. And these are big clients. These are not tiny little mom and pop businesses. So that's the sophistication level of AI they've got right now. So you think about the opportunity for us as agencies, there's a lot of room for us to. And then they said, we know we're behind. We don't have the time, nor in some cases do we have the legal permission or the resources to explore these things and figure out how they plug in. Someone's going to have to help us. And if we have our druthers, it's going to be our agency partners. So for the agencies that are paying attention and looking for new revenue opportunities, and by the way, think about it, new pockets of money outside of the marketing budget, this is a great opportunity for them.
It's really interesting because one of the questions I wanted to ask you is like, where do you see the industry evolving? And it sounds like you've kind of already answered that, where marketing agencies are now also having to start to, or there's an opportunity for them to encompass AI and automation. Because I mean, I'm sure you see this trend of, all these AI automation agencies that are popping up. But the reality is, it's like it doesn't have to be one or the other. It can actually be both and the same.
Well, and I think it's going to be kind of hard to not sort of embrace all of that, right? So clients want help with tech stack. Clients want help. When you think about it, I've always believed, and this is from early on in my agency days, marketing is all of it. I mean, there is no part of a business that marketing is not like how we do it, how we talk about how we doing, how what we do influences customers or clients. It's all marketing, right? It's all about how we communicate to either an internal or external audience. All of that's marketing. And so agencies, I think, have often been so narrow in their focus, marketing deliverables, that we haven't taken full advantage of where a client is inviting us to play a role. And so I think as it gets easier for either a freelancer or an AI tool to make some of the stuff that we make, we're going to have to find new ways to be valuable to clients. And the good news is, I think it's in that sort of strategic thinking partner, which most agency folks love to do. So we just have to lean into it deeper and broader than we've allowed ourselves to think about it in the past.
Yeah, makes sense. A deeper consultative partner type stuff. So and it sounds like that's what you guys do at AMI is you serve as that for the agency owner.
That's right,
Um,
right. So we're modeling that behavior for sure. So new best practices, new tool sets, new pricing models. We're constantly helping agencies evolve their business to stay relevant and current, which, as you were saying earlier, with the rate of change today is no small task. And so, again, the AMI philosophy is we all can get better faster if we kind of do this as a joint group project. And there's plenty of opportunity for everybody out there. So we don't have to be so kind of cover your answers. Don't let anybody else know what you're doing. There's plenty of work out there for everybody. And so we just try to bring this very collaborative spirit into a group learning environment. And then we take what we learn in all of those environments and distill it down in podcasts, in content, in our coaching sessions where they are one on one. And now we can laser focus with a specific agency owner on what he or she needs to do to kind of level up. And so it's like it's an ecosystem that can serve everybody and serves everybody pretty well. But it starts with
Awesome.
the idea that we can learn from and with each other.
Yeah, and you have to be open and willing to share
Yep.
and not safeguard the information.
Right.
It's got it. That makes a lot of sense. So I'm curious, Drew, for you guys at AMI, what does client acquisition look like? And the reason I ask is because it's a topic that always comes up on in agency conversations, right? It's like how do we acquire more clients? How do we keep our current clients longer? And we already spoke about how you can, add additional revenue opportunities.
Yeah.
What does client acquisition look like for you all?
Well, it's interesting. So we model what we teach, which is the reality is, and we all quote these statistics to our clients. We just don't look in the mirror and quote them to ourselves. But the reality is, for most agencies and their clients, most of the buying decision is done before you even know that prospect is out there, right? In today's world, there, if anybody who's watching, there are prospects who are on their website, on their social right now, trying to decide if they're the right agency for them. And so it is about who are you? How do you differentiate yourself from everybody else? What thought leadership do you put out there? What do you own? You are the teacher of what? You are the expert at what? So we always say, are you the, you know, like when people refer to AMI as, oh, well, they're the agency people. Like that's perfect. That's exactly who we are, right? So your agency is what? They're the whatever it is, middle market manufacturing agency. They're the whatever it is, but how do you tell people before they know who you are? Well, you tell people that by being out in public, by producing thought leadership pieces, by teaching, by sharing it, So that's really how we do it too. It's the podcast, it's the research we do. We produce a different video every week, a teaching video, the workshops, all of those things. So people typically are looking for an answer to a problem they have. Agency owners are looking for an answer, and they hear about us one of two ways. Either they find us through search, or they know another agency owner who says, "Oh, I bet AI has something on that topic." They find us, and then they start going, "Oh, they teach workshops. Oh, they help with succession planning. Oh, they do coaching." That's how we get found, just like agencies get found today. So, agency owner, I wrote a book in 2020 called Sell with Authority, which is basically a blueprint of how do you build a thought leadership position and sell from a position of authority. And that's how we sell, and that's how we think agencies should sell.
It makes a ton of sense. You guys eat your own dog food.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. We're the case study.
Yeah, got it. So a lot of agency owners that I speak to, there's this either internal or maybe company conflict of sales, right? So founder-led sales versus, can I offload the sales? How do you guys think about that at AMI? And what are some of the challenges that your clients have in that department? How do you guys typically support them?
Yeah, well, so part of it is it personality sales, which almost always means the founder is better at it than anybody else. You can tell better stories, all the case studies, and you're a business owner, and so you can talk to it in a different way. I think where a salesperson can come in, and by the way, salespeople at best, 30% of them ever sell beyond their own salary. So it's a risky investment, but if you, depending on what you're trying to create, what the agency that you're trying to build is, you eventually, at a certain size, the owner can't be the only salesperson. And so you've got to find a way to infuse that ability and that knowledge and that sort of gravitas into other people. Well, that's easier to do if you have a core set of deliverables. And deliverables may not be things, it may be strategy, it may be marketing plans or roadmaps or whatever you want to call it. It may be methodologies that you have. So the more you have something concrete that someone can talk to and about and describe the outcomes, tell the stories around. And the more you can sort of visually sort of talk through those things, that's when it gets easier for someone other than a founder to do part of the sales. But when you think about it, one of the great things, and we talk about it a lot in Sell with Authority, is when you are a thought leader, when you are a subject matter expert, when someone's already made 80% of the buying decision by following you for a period of time, and now all of a sudden they need an agency, a lot of the sales work is done, right? So then now it's a chemistry check because you've already proved competence. So now it's about chemistry. Well, now anybody on your senior leadership team, in theory, should be able to close that sale because your agency has proven that you have a depth of expertise in exactly what that person needs to buy. So they've sort of sold themselves. And so I think sales get much easier the more of an authority position you hold. And by the way, that means niching down in some way. You cannot be an authority of everything. Like you cannot be a marketing authority, right? So it is figuring out who are you best sort of built to serve. How do you serve them best? What kind of things can you do for them? And then talking very specifically to that. So, for example, if you look at any AMI content, we don't talk about any other business other than agencies, but we talk very deeply about what agencies can and should or shouldn't do to demonstrate that we understand that world better than anybody else. And every agency can follow that model. So, again, if you are an agency that works in pharma products for women over 50, and all of your content talks about that buyer, the buyer's journey, how influential the doctor is to women over 50 when they choose a prescription, how direct ads influence. Like when you are that focused over and over again, when someone who's looking for an agency with that expertise finds you and starts consuming that content, pretty quickly they're like, well, why would I hire anyone else? These people speak my language. They understand my audience. They've done it for my competitors. I want them. I want this. And then it's really just about making sure that when they reach out to you, that you're authentically who you said you were. And then it's kind of a done deal. So for agencies that have an authority position, the sales cycle, the marketing cycle is much longer, but the sales cycle is much shorter.
much shorter. And it doesn't always have to be the founder
Right.
doing got it. You mentioned your succession planning, M&A, acquisitions a couple times in our conversation. And so how important is having a dialed in marketing and sales process in getting higher multiples, when those conversations happen?
Yeah, there's a whole set of things. So you can do the math, right? And you get a number based on the last 5 years of AGI and EBITDA. Here's the number. But that's the starting point. That's not the end point. Then there are factors that pull the number south, and there are factors that pull the number north, right? And so certainly one of the factors is that you have a repeatable sales process that when the founder leaves, because odds are when they're selling, it's because they don't want to be there anymore. When the founder leaves, that can continue to feed the beast. So otherwise, when you think about it, what I'm buying is the book of business you have today. And as that book of business erodes, which is inevitable at a certain point in time, the value of what I'm buying is gonna diminish, so I'm not gonna pay full price because I know over time, what I'm buying is just gonna get less and less valuable. However, if you have a machine that I can see how it fills all the parts of the funnel, and I can run the machine, or you have a team of people who already run the machine, they're not going away when the founder goes away, then now I've got an increased perception of value because I can replicate what you've done. And if I pour more gasoline on that fire, I can replicate it maybe faster and bigger even than what you did. And so, yeah, it absolutely affects the multiplier.
Got it. Yeah. That makes a ton of sense. And the reason I ask is because, I speak to like yourself, we speak to agency owners quite frequently, and you have the type of agency owner that's like, I want to own the sales piece. This is my piece. Like, I don't necessarily need a team, which is makes absolute sense if that's the level of growth that you want to maintain. And then you have on the other side the agency owners that have done so much and tried to offload that piece and just have really struggled with it and, feel like they can't offload it. So I think it sounds like you guys have found a way to solve kind of both sides of the equation there.
When you think about the way agency sales used to be, you had a salesperson who was a great extroverted people person, right? And they would go to the conferences and they'd buy people drinks and they'd get to know people. But the problem with that is there's 50 of those people at every conference. And if your agency isn't differentiated, if I don't like that person or I don't connect with that person, there's no chance for that sale. But if the when I am buying you a drink, I'm telling you how great our agency is, and we have the smartest people and all this sort of generic stuff agencies say about themselves, which by the way is, we're a full service integrated marketing agency. Everybody says that. So you're not differentiating yourself at all. If that's how you talk about yourself, even the best salesperson isn't going to have a great hit rate. But again, if the salesperson, whether it's the founder or someone else is like, for the last 10 years, 85% of our clients have been pharma products that are aimed at women over 50. And here's why we went down that path. And here's what we know about that. And let me tell you some stories of how that worked. And even better than that, I drop that little fact, but then I lean into the pharma company marketing CMO and I go, so are you having this problem with the audience that and I'm asking questions that they're like, "Oh my god, yeah, I am having that problem." And, "Oh my gosh, we are running into that roadblock." And yes, our competitors are eating our lunch there. By me asking questions that only I would know if I understand the business, I can actually have a sales conversation that doesn't feel like a sales conversation that person walks away and I can say, "Well, one of the things that we've done that we've found has been really valuable is we put this in the PS of an email," or whatever the sort of secret sauce we give away. That's the other thing. We think everything we do is such a big secret. That's ridiculous. Tell them everything you do. Doesn't mean that they're gonna do it without your help, but by demonstrating that I'm like that person walks away and goes, "I'm gonna totally try that PS thing on the emails." Who are they gonna remember of all the salespeople they talk to? They're gonna remember me, and they're gonna remember our agency, and so it's so much easier to sell when you're very specific about who you are, who you serve, what you know, and you're an expert in that, then it's easier for anybody to be more successful, and so you might start with the founder, and as the agency grows and scales, it's not that the founder won't still be doing that, but now you've got a team of 2 or 3 or 4 people and over time, especially if I'm 55 and I think I want to sell my agency in the next 5 or 10 years, I'm starting to hand more and more of that responsibility off to my team so that I am building a scalable, sellable agency that is not so dependent on me that the buyer goes, "Yes, I'll buy you, but only if you stay for 3 years." And now I have to be I have to be an employee in the agency that I used to own, which I've never ever met an agency owner who was like, "That was awesome. I loved working for the people that bought my agency." I've never met anyone who said that. So far better to build an agency that doesn't need you at the end of the sale. You can stay for 3 months, help the clients and the employees transition, and then go do whatever is the next chapter for you.
Makes a lot of sense. I hear you loud and clear. Thanks for sharing that. I think it's super valuable information. True. I'm curious because we've spoken about tech and AI a little bit already. What are some of the strategies, tools, or technology that you see that are coming up that maybe other agency owners aren't looking at?
So it's interesting. So, AI has been around forever. And we had talked about it like it was this magic thing that just popped up, a year ago. But we've been living with it anybody who's been on Amazon for the last decade has been using AI, whether you called it that or not, or Netflix suggesting your next movie. We're used to it as consumers. We just aren't used to it as business owners and leaders. But it's interesting. So when AI sort of hit the agency sort of radar screen, everybody went to the same thing, which is I'm going to use fill in the blank tool, whether it was ChatGPT or Jasper or whatever, to write blog posts. That was everybody's first like step in. And then it was like, what other creative could we use AI for? And now what we're getting to is, first of all, we're past the experimentation age. Agencies are now leveraging AI to make money and to do what's another interesting thing out of the research. Clients aren't thinking about AI as a way to reduce our fees. What they want is faster and more from us for the same fee. They just want deeper, better, not cheaper, faster,
Mm.
which I thought was really interesting. But agencies have gotten sort of past the I can produce a blog post faster. And now what we're seeing is where I think AI really can matter is a couple things. Number one, what can AI do better than a human that will make what we do for clients smarter? So we're seeing a lot of really interesting things in reporting and data crunching and all of that. We're also seeing it in what are operationally things that I as an agency have to do, whether it's keeping track of vacation days or whatever it may be, that there's a tool out there that I don't have to have a human do this thing that does not really require human intelligence. So we're seeing efficiencies happening inside agencies.
Mm,
But the place, again, this gets back to the research, the place that we're starting to see more and more is agencies thinking about AI as an opportunity to sell different and more into their clients by being the teacher and the sort of matchmaker of, you know what, client, you have this business challenge. Let us do some work and come back to you with some technology solutions that will help you solve that problem. And by the way, we'll help you install it or we'll find the partner to install it if it's not us. And we'll help you implement it in the organization. We'll help you train everybody. And here's how we're going to plug it into the other things you're doing. So I think we're starting to look for ways to connect different parts of our client's business. And again, sort of thread that message through, which is every time you do anything, it is a communication. And how well that communication goes impacts the way the audience, whether it's an employee, a business partner, a client, a prospect, how they see you and how they perceive you. And so it's all marketing. And so I think that's where agencies are leaning in right now.
I'm noticing the theme, the pattern is becoming more holistic, becoming like going deeper, not just staying in the lane of what was once running ads or marketing or messaging or communication or PR. It's like, no, it's bleeding into other departments. And
And I
yeah, that
think
makes a
I
ton of
don't think
sense.
I don't think that's a new trend, but I think it's to your point early in our conversation, I just think it's coming harder and faster every day. So I think the minute we got computers back in the day, the ability to make stuff became more democratized and clients could do more of that kind of stuff in-house. And so agencies have had to be more of a strategic partner, a thinking partner, a business thinking partner, and that just is happening more and more every day. When you're a business thinking partner, you can expand into R&D, you can expand into HR, you can expand into other parts of the business because it's all, to your point, holistically connected together. And that's the big opportunity for agencies is that we don't have to be so narrow in our focus and our deliverables anymore. And in fact, we can be more valuable to the client. We can charge more because we're delivering at a different value level than making an ad that they can now make themselves.
Yeah. Yeah. Drew, getting ready to wrap up here. I'm curious because you've been in this space for a while and, maintain a level of success for a number of years here. What are some of the areas of life that you've had to master on this journey?
So I believe that my origin of being an agency person and then an agency owner was the right tee up for doing what I do now because I think the skill sets are the same. I think there has to be successful in business today, and certainly this is true for agency owners, is you have to always be ready to pivot. And you have to nothing you cannot think of anything, any aspect of your business as so sacred that other than, like, your core values, there's that's so sacred that you're gonna cling to it even though there's a better way. Because in our world, there's always a better way. And so, I think it's a this idea of continual learning and improvement and finding the tweak, and it's not always a wholesale change, but it is constantly sort of adjusting and tweaking and pivoting as the business evolves and changes. So I think it's part that. Which I also think makes it hard. And so the other aspect I think of my personality that serves me well is I'm just too stubborn and to say this is too hard or I'm giving up. It's like I'm gonna friggin' figure this out. I don't know how I'm gonna figure it out, but I'm gonna figure it out. And I think there's just a tenacity to owning an agency or doing the work that we do that is I'm just gonna keep pushing forward, and I will figure it out, and I will keep adding value in this new way, even though I would be much easier to do what I did 5 years ago because boy, I would have mastered that by now. I also think one of the skills that will become critically important to agency owners that I have always been blessed to have is I can take super complicated things and make them ridiculously simple. Like I can just simplify with an analogy or a story, something that feels very abstract and confusing and make it understandable and that someone can remember that analogy or story and repeat it so that it sort of populates through an organization or a department or a business, whatever that may be. And I think as the business of business gets more complicated and more sophisticated, agency owners and leaders are going to have to get really good at that. We're going to have to simplify for our clients these complicated realities that we all deal with every day so that they can understand them and make decisions about them quickly.
Thanks for sharing, Drew. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. You are very clearly a wealth of knowledge. Where can people learn more about AMI, the events, the workshops, all the things, or maybe even just, you and
Yeah. So they certainly can reach out. Probably the best way to do that is either hit me up on LinkedIn or just send me an email. It's drew at agencymanagementinstitute.com. The website has all of the information about, there's a tab called How We Help, and you can learn about the conference. You can learn about the workshops. You can learn about the succession counseling that we do. You can learn about all of the things. And there's a ton of free resources there. Another great starting point is the podcast. So we're on episode think it's about 540. So we've been doing it for over a decade. So the podcast itself, every week a new episode. Every fifth week, I do a solo cast where I'm just teaching something. So even if you want to go back and listen, I would start at episode 5 and just do 5, 10, 15, 20, and learn through the solo cast. Then you can go back and find the interviews that you think are relevant to you. But we have a lot of free content. And for a lot of agencies, that's all they need. And that's okay. We're happy to be as helpful as we can be to as many agency folks out there as possible.
thank you so much for coming on the show.
You bet. Thanks for having me.